Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ahead of the Apex. Sadly, today, I'm not joined by Tim. I am your host, Josh. I didn't say that. I keep forgetting to say that first, but that's okay. There's no Tim today. I know. There's no Tim. I know, it's fine. He's on holiday. He's away today. He's away all week, actually, but he has sent through some notes for this week. Instead, today, I'm joined by Jake. Say hi, Jake.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I really thought I'd get you and you'd say hi, Jake, back. I keep trying that, but Tim doesn't fall for it. I really thought you might have fallen for it, but it's okay. Jake is completely new to this podcasting thing, as far as I'm aware. Is that true?
I've done it once, but that was 10 years ago now.
Okay. So if he's a little bit fresh, that's okay. Mistakes are okay. We're not perfect. We only have about 3 listeners anyway, and one of them's Tim. But that's fine. Right. Today we've got quite a lot to talk about, actually, Jake. I'm sorry. I've rather dumped you in at the deep end.
That's okay.
So we've got a little bit about WEC. There's been no Formula 1 since we last recorded, so that's okay. That's entirely fine. So we've got no F1 to talk about. I know you're dying to talk about Lando Norris, but it's not going to happen. My podcast, kid. Instead, we do have a little bit about the 6 hours of Sao Paulo to talk about. I'm going to save a lot of it for Tim because Tim's big on WEC.
Yep.
We've got the German Grand Prix and we've got the Czech Grand Prix from the MotoGP. But the real important thing is this is kind of a special, right? So special announcement. This is our mid-season podcast review for the MotoGP season.
Yes,
and
it is.
As such, I have asked you to give me some rankings for all the riders. I gave you quite a long list. Did you notice I also put in the support riders, the wildcard riders?
I did notice. And
Did you rate them?
I did. Bit harsh, but yeah, I did.
You rated them harsh?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to have some disagreements. That's okay. That's what we're here for. I also asked Tim to send through his, and in the very organized way that he does things, he sent me them at 10:30 last night. He's currently in Europe, so that's 11:30 last night for him. Just before bed. And I'm pretty sure for some of them where he didn't know, he just looked at mine and introduced half points. I didn't want half points. Have you given half points?
No, I assumed half points weren't a thing.
Yeah. So then because I saw he'd given half points, I was like, well, I'll give half points. Why not? So if you want to change them on the fly and you want to go half up, if you've got 2 riders that are like close together and you're like, oh, I think maybe I want to go like a little bit up or a little bit down, that's okay too. So the main story is from Sao Paulo. Did you watch Sao Paulo?
I watched the highlights.
You watched the highlights. That's okay because it's on its like weird channels in the UK. It's difficult to watch. They do release the full thing a week later, so you've had no excuse. There's a 7-hour video on YouTube. There's absolutely no excuse. You should have watched it last night before coming on the podcast.
Yeah, 7 hours straight, right?
You should have watched 7 hours straight last night before coming on the podcast. No, we will discuss it in more depth next time when Tim's back because, like I said, I don't want to go too much in depth on this because Tim's been really excited about WEC this season, as have I, but that's okay. We'll wait. The big talking point is Cadillac.
Yep.
Right? Huge result for Cadillac. It's only their second season.
I'm pretty sure it's the second season.
I'm pretty sure it's the second season in WEC. And obviously with the Hertz Jota team, they got a 1-2 in Sao Paulo, which kind of nobody expected. They've been nowhere this year. Yeah. Not nowhere, but their race pace has not been great. And they just pulled away. Pole and third on the grid, right?
Yeah,
there was a Porsche in the way.
Yeah, I think the Porsche was in the way.
But they cleared the Porsche quite quickly.
Oh, yeah.
He got a drive-through anyway. The number 5 Porsche got a drive-through for a tire pressure issue, which is going to become quite a hot topic on this podcast, I feel. Mm-hmm. You have opinions about tire pressures.
Yes, I do.
What's your opinion about tire pressures?
If it's not flat through the whole race, disqualify.
Interesting. Flat for the whole race?
Yeah.
But what about when the tires warm up?
Plan around it.
Yeah, but you can't. The tires warm up. That's it. Like, that's just what it is. Anyway, tire pressures aside, the number 5 was not disqualified, given a drive-through. And then the number 12 with Will Stevens, Norman Naito, and Alex Lynn took the victory. And then number 38, which was your man Jenson Button.
It was.
Sebastian Bourdais and Earl Bamber took second. It's pretty huge because aren't they now the first team in WEC history to win 2 races with different engine suppliers?
The team, yeah, I think they are.
The team Jota.
Yeah.
Mainly because a lot of the other teams are manufacturer teams. Ferrari aren't going to win with a different engine.
No.
For instance, Porsche,
And
Toyota.
Ford aren't.
Ford run Ford engines, right?
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's a big question over balance of performance. I think that's the main takeaway, and it's something that which is kind of what I want to discuss with Tim when he's next on, because I think it's quite a good talking point. So in WEC, if you're not aware, listeners, if you're not aware about balance of performance, essentially, because the cars aren't perfect, they're not very well constrained in the same way that F1 is, right? In F1, the engines are very constrained as to what they can achieve. The aerodynamics is very constrained. The weight limit is very constrained, so on, so on, so on. In hypercar racing, not so much, right? And
No.
they can kind of turn up with different engines, different aero, different weights, different hybrid systems, no hybrid systems, kind of
Free reign.
whatever you want, right? So the FIA do this thing where they basically just add weight and they add weight to your car. That's kind of balance for performance, right? And Ferrari are not happy about it. Not at all. And neither are Toyota. They were fighting down sort of 8th, 9th, 10th, and they've been the dominant force this year, Ferrari at least. Yeah. Toyota's sort of not CEO, but what's his official role? Team principal is his official role, and also racer Kamui Kobayashi, who will be a familiar name to F1 fans in the listeners. He labeled it as boring. BOP system is boring. There's an abyss in weight to power ratios between cars, and the current 100% convergence BOP is boring. So they're not happy. They're really not happy.
No.
Essentially, he's saying you can just because we make more power doesn't mean we should have more weight. Like, that's not fair because that's not how cars work. And he's not wrong, right? No. Just because a car is faster in a straight line doesn't mean that adding weight will make it equal in the corners. And when you get to a track like Sao Paulo, which is
all corners,
suddenly, whoa, balance of power doesn't work. Yeah. It's something that we'll discuss on the podcast a lot more in the future because we both, well, Tim and I probably want to investigate this in more depth. I've kind of thrown you in with no prep on this one, so that's unfair.
Yeah.
In the LMGT3 though, Lexus took their first win as well.
Yeah, I was shocked with that.
That the Acodis, what's the official name? ASP Team Lexus. They took their first win, but the real talking point was Barrichello on the podium.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. In the last 3 minutes, he overtook the Iron Dames team. Yeah. Huge crowd response. Really, really cool to see.
He was in the Aston as well.
He was in an Aston Martin, yeah. The number 10, I think. Aston Martin.
No, not 10, one of
them. Yes, the number 10. So, yeah, that was really cool to see. But we will discuss WEC in more detail when our resident WEC expert is back. Instead, let's move along to MotoGP, which is a sport that you can talk about.
Yes, it is.
You and I are both following the MotoGP very in-depth this year.
We are, yes.
For the first time, really.
To be this in-depth.
To be this in on it every weekend, watching religiously. It's been something we've been watching a lot of highlights about. We've had 2 races, both of which have been Marc Marquez victories.
Of course. When is he not going to win a race this year?
He's won 5 races in a row now. He's only dropped 3 results. Jerez.
America race.
And America.
And another one, I can't remember what it was.
Silverstone he didn't win, but he did finish second.
Yeah, because I think Bezzecchi, wasn't it?
Bezzecchi won.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 5 perfect weekends in a row. And okay, he's not had pole at every race, but
you don't need pole in that Ducati.
You don't need pole in that Ducati.
Well, Mark doesn't.
No. It was just, the Saxon Ring in particular, we'll start there. We'll start with the German Grand Prix. It rained on the Saturday. No problem. No problem. He just won, right?
Yeah.
He ran a bit wide at the start, but he just made his way back through calmly and aggressively at times, and just won. And again on the Sunday when it was dry, just waltzed away 6 seconds ahead, did the whole aura farming celebration thing that's been going around. Just unbelievable. I just don't know. I'm running out of words, right? I'm running out of words to keep describing Marc Marquez. Like I keep writing these blog posts on the website. I keep doing these podcasts where I talk about Marc, and I'm like, I have no more superlatives.
You've rushed far too through the dictionary of words for Marc Marquez.
Yeah, and I don't see him losing this championship now, even if he doesn't turn up. Like the competition below him
Is nowhere.
No, but the competition below him is so random.
I think it's I think the main problem is it's just Marc on that Ducati.
Yeah, but if we take Marc out, right? Let's say Marc decides summer break, I'm out. I want to go compete in.
I want to go on the beach with my wife.
Yeah, whatever. Then just doesn't come back. Or let's say he gets injured while he's on summer break.
It's likely it's Marc.
I don't want him to, but let's say that happens. And he doesn't turn up for the rest of the season. He's done 12 races now. So there's only 10 more. And he's so far ahead that if you look at the next few races, you're going to have a fast Bez, who's nowhere in the standings. You're going to have a
He's fourth?
Yeah, but he's nowhere.
He's like 200
close,
points off.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have a fast Didier. You're going to have a mistake-ridden Alex. Yeah.
If he's even got any pace back.
If he's even got any pace left. You're going to have a Bagnaia who doesn't understand that bike. You're going to have a Pedro Acosta getting in the mix as well. There's 5 riders there who are just going to take points off each other for the rest of the season. Marc could just not turn up.
He could honestly go on like an extra 3-month break, come back and still win the title at this point.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, Sachsenring was insane, and he left Sachsenring with an 83-point advantage over Alex, who did manage to get second. He was very fortunate, and we'll discuss that now because there were only 10 riders who finished.
Yeah,
the race.
No words.
There are points down to 15th in MotoGP.
Points left to spare is not something we experience much in F1.
No, and they don't get points for DNFs.
Exactly.
So the riders who didn't finish out of 11th place, all they had to do was stay on the bike.
Yeah, and they just didn't.
The main problem, it seems, was tyre wear.
It was that first corner tyre wear, I think.
Yeah, so what you have, for those who don't know the Sachsenring, for those who can't picture tracks in their head, I know it's a very unique skill, is the Sachsenring is all left-handers.
So there's like one right-hander.
The first corner is a right-hander, then there's 2 lefts, then there's a right-hander, and then it's a left into a 30-second long left-handed corner, a quick right, another long left, and then a tight left. So it's all left. There's like 3 right-hand corners. And what happened was, in MotoGP, they can run different compounds across the tyre, right?
Yeah.
And what's happening is, because it's all left, the left-hand side of the tyre is hard, and the right-hand side is softer, because they need that quick turn-on of the tyre.
Yeah.
So what you end up with is cold right-hand side of tyre, hot left-hand side of tyre, coming heavy braking zone into turn 1, tyre is cold, down they go. So there was Didier, Bez, Zarco, Mir, Agura.
The Mir one was a different one though, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, Agura hit Mir, right? But Acosta, he also fell.
It was kind of 4, I think.
Yes, it was, but he also fell.
Yeah.
Right? Acosta, Didier, Zarco, Bez, they all fell. So it ended up being Alex in second.
By pure luck.
By pure luck. And
no pace.
No, and Bagnaia in third. Again, by pure luck. So it was just weird. I am kind of excited, though, because the track's been renewed.
Yes, it's... I haven't seen any other seasons of the Sachsenring, but it seems to be a fan base favourite.
Yes.
And I don't know whether that's down to Marc basically just owning that track for, nearly 10 years?
Yes, or whether it's his 9th victory there?
Yeah, it's got to be at this point, plus sprint races.
I think the thing that people enjoy is that you can see them. If you, like, I'm looking at a picture of the track now. If you sit on the apex of at the apex of
Nice segue.
Of the so when that 30-second left starts, there's quite a long left, and then it sharpens a bit, and then there's a little bit of a left straight into a double apex left before the right. If you sit on that corner by the bridge, you can basically see them for 30 seconds going left.
Is it kind of like when you sit in the final corner of Hungary where you can just see all the way up?
You see all the way up. Yeah, exactly that. But no, I mean, it's a good track. It was a great race. What was less of a great race was the Czech Republic.
I'd argue, I think the German race was mainly exciting just because no one could keep it on the tarmac.
Agreed. There was a lot better racing at the Czech Grand Prix.
There was a lot more wheel to wheel, but I don't necessarily think it was a more entertaining race.
Interesting. I thought Bez's moves were quite good. Bastianini's moves were quite good. Acosta was quite good.
I can't talk about Acosta, bearing in mind he's one of my favourite riders. There's a little bit of bias there.
No, there's no shame in having a favourite, unless that favourite is Lando Norris.
So mean. Ferrari fan.
No, it's fine to have a favourite rider. That's okay. I think that the sprint was kind of interesting with the factory Ducatis and their tyres, their tyre pressures.
Yes.
We can reignite the tyre pressure debate if you want. So for those who didn't watch the race, Bagnaia took pole.
I don't know how.
I have no idea how. Well, I do know how. He took pole and then he just backed everybody up in qualifying. And then Mark fell.
Yeah, but I'm questioning where the pace came from. Because he was in Q1.
So the pace came from the fact that he missed his first lap, right? And then he came in. And then everybody else went out and did laps. And then Bagnaia came out, set his fastest lap as the track was improving. And then at the end, when the track was at its best, he backed everybody up. That's how he got pole.
It'd be nice for him to do it, in a race.
It would be nice for him to do it fairly.
And fairly, but in a race would be more important.
Yes. So he took pole, and then it didn't take long for Mark to get past him in the sprint. Let's be real.
And it's Bagnaia this season, so.
But once again, the factory Ducatis seem to underinflate their front tyre.
By significant numbers.
It seems to be significant numbers. And the problem with that is, as we've talked about on this podcast, is that you need to have 1.8 bar for 30% of the laps in the sprint and 60 in the race.
Yep.
And the reason that they would underinflate them is because you get better traction and
it's more rubber on the road.
More rubber on the road. And when they start to warm up, you still maintain that level of grip and then you don't get as much wear.
Yeah.
Right. And you get a more reliable front end on the bike. You might underinflate the rear tire for traction, but less likely.
Yeah.
Then this really weird thing happened where Bagnaia decided to let Acosta through, but accidentally let through everybody else as well.
That was hilarious.
That was just so funny. And he did that so that he could generate some heat in his front tyre off the back of the bikes ahead, because Mark had already started to pull a gap. And then Mark was going slowly for all of about 15 seconds because he was that far in front.
He just went wide on the corner, didn't he? And then
he managed to just let Acosta through instead of everybody else, like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
He stayed behind Acosta for all of about 5 laps to get his 30% tire pressure. And
5 laps of glory.
And then overtook him. They didn't do that in the main race. I assume they actually pumped the tires up for the main race.
Yeah, sure. They realized, oops, we made a mistake here. Let's.
And just, same again. Bagnaia just fell. Bez got in the mix. Acosta in the mix. Mark took the lead and just pulled away. Same old, right?
Yeah, kind of a copy and paste of every other race.
There's nothing much more to say. Really, really cool to see Bez and Acosta on the podium. Acosta on the podium twice.
Yep.
Because obviously Bastianini got the podium in the sprint.
Yep.
He fell in the main race, which was a bit of a shame because he was shooting through on
one of
the
the fastest on the track at that point.
So KTM are back. I've said that a couple of times on this podcast, and Tim didn't believe me, but they are back.
Far too long.
They are back. Well, they've had financial trouble, Jay. That's not fair.
Yeah, but that's their own fault, really.
But really cool to see Bez back, and also really cool to see Martin back.
Yes, that was because I've not seen him properly because he crashed in the Qatar Grand Prix for a few laps.
He was at the back. He made it about 14 laps through, and then he was run over by Didier. Yeah,
those 14 laps was all I've seen of him this year because I don't watch.
He did the sprint, but he wasn't very good in the sprint.
I don't watch practice particularly.
Sure. Yeah, but he's only had the 2 practice sessions in Qatar and the 2 practice sessions in Brunei.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But look, Bastianini's on a Tech 3 KTM.
Yeah.
Acosta's on a factory KTM. Both of them showing pace. Really good pace as well.
And Maverick showed pace when he was...
Mav sat this one out. But yes.
When he was racing, he showed consistent pace.
Yeah. We had Paul Espargaro on Mav's bike.
And he was showing good pace as well.
He was showing good pace, which is why I'm surprised you've been harsh on him.
To be fair, he's one of the highest rated of the replacement riders.
All right. We'll get there shortly. Yeah. Just cool to see, right? I mean, who's the other Tech 3 rider? Binder. He was in the mix, though. Come on.
Yes, like there's. It's nice to see KTM actually performing. Bearing in mind they've not really performed all year. They've had moments, and the occasional rider up there, doing well. And I'm kind of a KTM fan right now, just because of the way their bike looks, and without Repsol Honda being there, and that awesome orange bike, awesome orange and black livery being there. It's one of my favorite liveries on the bike right now.
It's just a Red Bull logo.
Exactly.
It's nothing that
it's
special.
The colour. The colour is very nice.
Nah, it's just a Red Bull logo. I'm looking at Acosta's bike right now, and don't get me wrong, he fits in much like the Ducati factory riders fit in. There's no odd colours going on there, but it's just the Red Bull logo.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than just a red bike with stickers on.
That red bike with stickers on is winning everything at the moment. Let's move it on from KTM before you get a bit patriotic.
Yep.
Alex Marquez.
Oof. Where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start? So terrible qualifying, terrible sprint.
Okay in the race. Was
he? He crashed into Juan Mir.
Up until that point, he was doing okay in the race.
So he is currently second in the championship.
Way off though.
He was way struggling for pace, and then he just tried a ballsy overtake on Juan Mir into the chicane.
And just lost it.
And just dropped it and just wiped him out again. Juan Mir getting hit by somebody.
Yeah,
it's terrible. He's crashed in 51% of his races for Honda now.
Yeah, I was looking at stat last night while sort of doing a little bit more research on Mir, just because I've wanted to see how he'd done, because Honda has gone from years ago being the most dominant provider in the sport.
Yeah, 2019
to being nowhere in 3 years, and not really caught it back up really.
Yeah, there's a philosophy thing there that's really struggling.
And he's finished more sprint races than he's done actual races.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But then, he's putting himself in those positions.
But half of them aren't really his fault.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to rate him higher, but he's in those positions because of his qualifying.
Yeah, his qualifying seems to be the big killer really for him.
Apart from this one with Alex, where he was actually on for some decent points.
Oh, he was on for a good sort of 6th, 7th. Really.
A lot of them are crashing at the back with rookies, right? He's crashed with Agura at the Saxon Ring. He had no reason to be anywhere near Agura, right? But he's put himself in that position by being a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
It's not controversial.
He's a world champion as well, which makes it more worrying.
He is a world champion, but he's the world champion from the year when we had COVID and Mark was not on the bike.
Yeah, it was basically just him and no one else. He won one race that year, apparently.
He did. He That's kind of like saying Nico Rosberg is a world champion. He is.
Just Lewis had lots of reliability problems.
It's actually kind of more like saying Jenson Button is a world champion.
We like Jenson Button here. That's
No, you like Jenson Button.
okay. I like Jenson Button.
Jenson Button won a world championship when, just as a regulation change came in, with a car that had a rear diffuser before anybody else had a rear diffuser, and only held on to it because of the way the point system was structured. Because if the point system was structured how it is now, or how it was a year later, Vettel wins that world championship. Yeah. So Joan Mir is a world champion like Jenson Button is a world champion.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'll have great success in endurance racing in years to come, and he can tell everybody he was a MotoGP world champion. Oops. But for now, he's got a 51% DNF rate at Honda, and he's getting a low rating from me. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I wonder if that's why there's, not to bring up rumor of Honda changing their whole rider lineup.
Yes. Yes.
It would make a lot of sense.
I don't really know what else to say other than yes, because you're absolutely right. Silly season is kicking off, and it's kicking off big time. And Honda currently have
0 riders.
That's not true. Joan Mir is the only one they have confirmed.
Yeah.
Everything else is TBA.
And even then, I wouldn't question Mir at that point.
We know contracts are not worth anything.
No.
So, yes, we shall see. Let's move it on. Teeny tiny little bit of F1 news, if that's okay.
Sure.
And then we'll go back to MotoGP. I know that's confusing.
Gives the listeners a little bit of a break from...
Yep. So this morning, I saw they announced tyre allocation.
I have seen this.
For the Belgian Grand Prix. And it is a bit juicy. The
It
C1, the C3 and the C4.
Staggered.
I mean, they could have made it even more juicy and brought the C5 instead of the C4.
Or they could have gone back in time and brought the Ultra Soft or the Hyper Soft.
Well, that's the C6, right? The Ultra Soft.
Yeah, I guess.
They could have brought the C6. That'd have been real.
C1, C2, C6.
Real juicy. If they'd have brought the C6. But...
Or just only bring the C6.
Why is this kind of exciting? It's the reverse tyre strategy that they've been bringing to Monaco and Canada and places like that, where they've brought the C3, C4 and C6. The bigger the number, the softer the tyre.
Yeah.
It's kind of giving me one-stop vibes.
There is depending on the weather and the degradation of the tyre, there is a chance for a one-stop.
But it makes me think medium, hard won't be a good idea.
I think it might end up being medium, soft.
I think most people will do medium, hard and do the one stop. I think the people at the front, the McLarens, everybody else, right?
I think Max might try it.
I think Max might try medium, soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here for it. And I think somebody like Fernando Alonso at the back
might just go hard, soft.
No, might go hard, soft, but might try medium, soft as well. Somebody who's got an extra set of softs from quali, maybe a Nico Hülkenberg.
Someone that gets into Q3 and then doesn't go out?
No, I mean somebody who goes out in Q2. Maybe a Nico Hülkenberg. Back to back.
God, if he gets a back-to-back podium, that's going to be insane.
Back to back. We spoke last time on this podcast that Kick Sauber were going to win the championship because it's the F1 movie predicted it. Could happen now. Let's just build a tyre strategy around Nico Hülkenberg, please, and just let him win a championship.
What we could do is just use the WEC
balance of power
and just shove everyone with weight, and then
yeah. So the McLarens were seconds clear of everybody else in Silverstone. So let's add 300 kilograms to their car. That seems fair. And Ferrari were nowhere, so let's take all the weight out of their car,
including the engine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
With the push,
it's fine. Okay. Mid-season rider rankings. You got to be real careful how you say that one.
You do.
You have to be careful.
Yep.
You don't want to lisp when you're saying that one, let me tell you. Okay, so we're going to go in order. I gave you a list in order, and the order is entirely based on the alphabetical order of the team names.
I did not notice that.
You did not notice that. So The way I got there was I just went to the Wikipedia page for the MotoGP 2025 season.
Just copy paste.
And I copy and pasted the list of riders.
Nice.
Okay. I did move the wild card and the substitute riders to the bottom, but they are also in order of teams alphabetically. So we're going to start with Aprilia, then Ducati, then Honda, then KTM, then Yamaha.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have Tim's rankings, and if there's any that are a little bit spicy or a little bit controversial,
you mean a 0.5?
Yeah, then we'll have a discussion. So we'll do teams. I'll introduce the teams and I'll kind of give a little bit of a summary. There it will be a supporting article on the website about this with a copy of the table that I'm about to fill out. And we've got Tim, we've got me, and we've got Jake's results, and then we'll take an average. All right, and we'll run through them one by one. So Aprilia, to begin with, they have had a really strange year.
Yes.
I think that's fair to say. They have, on paper, one of the strongest lineups on the grid.
At the start of the season, and now, yes.
So at the factory team, they've got Martin and Bezcecchi.
Yeah.
Great riders. And at the Satellite team, they've got Fernandez and Agura, who are basically rookies. So you've got two great riders at the top, a world champion at the top, and you've got rookies at the bottom.
Who are probably some of the highest rated rookies right now.
Correct. But before the season even starts, as we've discussed so many times on this podcast, Martin is injured in preseason. He's injured again in training before the race, and he's injured again in Qatar. And since then, he's done nothing but try and get out of that contract.
Yeah.
But then, suddenly, Bezcecchi starts winning, starts putting in some good podiums. Martin gets a little taster, and now he's interested again. Still don't know whether or not that's legally he lost the dispute. And he's just like, yeah, the bike's fine. Love the bike. Think the bike's great. Love it.
We'll find out.
Or whether he actually does love the bike. Who knows? But he'd be daft to go to Honda right now. I think that's fairly obvious. It would be career suicide for him to move to Honda.
Yeah.
He's got nobody left, right?
Yeah.
It's Honda or nobody.
Yeah. I think because of the reg change coming in 27, I think he's looking at that.
What, the reg change to move to Honda?
Yeah.
So he sticks out Aprilia for the next 2 years, for this year and next year, and then Honda. Okay. Right. Let's start with Martin. So as I've just said, injured 3 times. Finished 16th in the sprint in Qatar. Not a lot else to say. It's largely been dominated by injuries. And then he came back for the Czech Grand Prix. It was phenomenal. He finished within 6 seconds of Marquez in the sprint and got points, 7th in the race.
Yeah, I did my rankings before that race.
I did, and then I watched that race and I adjusted them a little bit.
I was thinking I need to change these rankings at some point.
Yeah, I didn't want recency bias though.
Yeah, that is the other problem.
But with Martin, there is nothing but recency. Because I'm supposed to rank him based on his off-track performance because he's done nothing but kick up a fuss.
I've taken that into account because that will cause some disharmony in that team.
Okay.
Not massively, but it will cause some issues for that replacement rider dealing with the fallout.
So, Tim gave Martin a 2.5. I gave Martin 3.
Oof, I feel bad now.
What did you give Martin?
A big fat 1.
A big fat 1, right. That turns Martin's average into a 2.2.
Can we just sack off the points?
No. We've started and now we'll finish. We've literally done 1. I could have rounded Tim's up, but that doesn't help you. We still get a point. We'll
blame Tim. It's fine.
With 3-3-1, you'd still get a point something. That's just how maths works, mate. At least this way we might get a decent average.
Yeah.
Why have you given him a 1? It's because you did it before the Czech Grand Prix, right?
It's partly because of that, and then I watched it and I'm thinking, that bike is pushing for podiums. I know he's been injured.
He's missed on like 6,500 kilometers on that bike.
So it's impressive he's back on it now and not the next race after the break.
Yeah.
but he didn't really put in any. He was just consistent, which is good.
What more do you want? The dude had fractured lungs. What more? Like punctured lungs. He had like all sorts of horrendous broken ribs and like what more do you want from him? You finished 7th.
Unlike Mir, he's a world champion that beat Bagnaia and Marquez.
Yeah.
He should be able to not necessarily win straight coming back.
Unlike Mir, he scored points at the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, what more do you want from the dude? Like, come on.
It's mainly just causing up a fuss, causing up a stir.
Yeah.
Coming back and then showing that he's got the capability in that bike, and that bike has the capability, but not really making me think, I can up this 1 to a 2.
He finished 7th. I hate the rating is what it is, but he finished 7th.
Yeah.
On a bike he's never really ridden. After 3 horrendous injuries.
Yeah, but how many of them injuries were his own fault, though?
I'm not denying, and I've slated him on this podcast, but
he made that choice to do those things and get injured.
He made that choice to get injured, yes.
Yeah.
But
because he could have won a few races by now.
Look, I just gave him a 3, but you gave him a 1. I didn't give anybody a 1.
I gave
I didn't give anybody a 1.
Okay, I only gave 2 people a 1.
Wow, you have been harsh. Okay, let's move it on to Bezecchi, because quite frankly, I think he's been one of the best riders this season.
Yes, I've taken into account that Mark still exists in this magical world of MotoGP.
Unfortunately, yes, Marc Marquez does exist in this magical world of MotoGP.
He will affect that curve.
He does affect that curve. So, Tim doesn't agree. Okay, so Bez is quietly, he had an average start to the season in the first 6 races. He got a handful of points. Silverstone was his time to shine when they started bringing the upgrades, and obviously it was a bit chaotic. He took the victory, but since then he's been
reasonably consistent.
Top 5 at most races.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a bit of a drop in Germany, but who didn't?
Yeah.
Podium in Czech, the Czech Grand Prix.
Yep.
He's basically been the one to take the fight to Mark because nobody else will. The Dutch Grand Prix springs to mind where he was hounding Mark for the entire race.
Yeah, it was just the fact that there's a massive gap between those bikes.
And I think we can safely say he's the reason that Martin came back.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
There's no doubt, right? So
from what we know, there is no doubt there.
Well, what are you trying to insinuate? I don't know anything.
There might be some, cheeky money that has changed hands.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't speculate on this podcast.
Oh, no.
It's just facts. It's just pure facts on this podcast. There is absolutely no speculation. There is no room for speculation.
Not at all.
It's just facts. So Tim gave Bez 7.5.
I gave him a 7, but I'll go up to a 7.5.
You gave him a 7, but you want to go 7.5.
After that.
You want to commit to a 7.5?
Yeah, Czech Grand Prix.
7.5. I gave Bez a 9.
Of course you did.
Because I think he's been phenomenal. And I think it's a disgrace to say anything else. We need to move. You just need to wave your arms. The lights have gone off. You're not moving enough. That's a good point, actually. Tim must be moving all the time to trigger that light because the motion sensor is right above you.
Yeah.
I don't think I left myself enough of a cut there to actually pull any information out. So for listeners, what happened was the lights turned off. Let's go to, can we go to Savadori?
Of course.
Martin's replacement.
Yep.
Has he done a decent job? I've written that he's done a decent job. He's got 8 points in the first half of the season. When I wrote this, I was under the impression he was a rookie, but he's not a rookie.
Nope.
And
I think he's more experienced than Bezecchi.
As such, I've rated him as a as not as a rookie. I've rated him as a maybe ridden a bike a few times. But I've written the article as if he were a rookie. So the German Grand Prix was a low point. He fell twice during the same race.
The fact he fell once
and kept going.
Then kept going and then decided to fall again.
Unbelievable. And he fell during a yellow flag period.
Yes.
Not good enough. but somehow managed to get 9th place at the French Grand Prix.
Shocking.
In really awful conditions. I don't think we'll ever see him again in MotoGP.
Maybe he's like a wild card at some point.
Yeah, but Aprilia don't really run wildcards much.
No.
So probably not. Tim and I both gave him a 3. What did you give him?
Same as Martin, a 1.
You gave him a 1. Interesting. Okay. So that takes his average to 2.3, which is higher than Martin's. Bez's average was 8.
That's fair.
Which I think is fairly reasonable for what he's done. I still think a 9 is probably the right way to go. But
just the start of the season for him that made me go 7 rather than an 8.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right. Let's continue with the Aprilia riders. So we've got Raul Fernandez and Ayagura. Basically both rookies, right? Fernandez has done an extra season.
Yeah.
But basically both rookies. Before the Czech Grand Prix, they were separated by like 2 points.
Yep.
And they'd had pretty much the reverse of each other's seasons. So Agura was obviously one of the quickest Aprilia riders at the start of the season. Fernandez was not. Fernandez has become more consistent, scoring more points, putting on a better job than Agura in the second half of the season. And I kind of rated them roughly about the same because of that. But I have had a word with myself and decided that Fernandez should get a better score than Agura.
I mildly disagree.
Okay. Justification.
In my mind, Raul Fernandez is, yes, he kind of counts as a rookie.
Sure.
But he's not this isn't his first season.
No.
So he has a bit of experience.
Yeah. But he's now got a 15-point advantage over Agura.
Yes, and if that continues throughout the season, yes, the ranking would go up.
Okay.
But for the start of the season and when you join the top ranking of a motorsport, making a name for yourself is quite important, especially as a rookie.
Yeah, but has Agura done that?
Agura started to.
He started to, and now he's kind of a bit crash happy.
Dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, not good. Okay, so Tim and I gave Fernandez a 5.
I gave him a 4, but I could argue a 4.5.
Do you want a 4.5 or do you want a 5? I mean, this is really your choice, mate.
4.5, I'll go.
You want a 4.5?
Yeah.
So that takes his average to 4.8. Tim gave Agura a 5. I gave Agura a 4.
I gave him a 5.
You gave him a 5.
Yeah. Looking at his season so far, I could very well argue that he could be Rookie of the Year at the end of the year.
How many other rookies are there?
There's 2
Chantra.
more. Chantra and then Aldeguer, I think.
Oh, yeah, of course Aldeguer's a rookie, yeah.
Aldeguer's on a Ducati.
Yes, but I have taken the bike into account. I expect more from Aldeguer.
Oh, yeah, me too. That's why he's not.
Agura.
That's why I'd argue that he's not Rookie of the Year.
In the first part of the season. But now I expect, because Agura is on the current bike.
Yeah.
Aldeguer's not on the current bike.
No.
So as the season goes on, I expect less from Aldeguer, and his ranking will go up.
Yep, same here.
If he continues the way he is. But I expect more from Agura.
Yep.
Which is why I gave him a 4. That takes the average. So Fernandez 4.8 and Agura 4.7. So we didn't really help things there. Now let's get on to Ducati. Well,
spicy.
So Ducati have maintained their advantage for another year, and with the regulation changes coming in 2 years' time, it seems like next year will also be their time to shine. Aprilia and KTM, as we said earlier in the podcast, are hot on their heels, but they've had almost a perfect season this year as a manufacturer.
Yes.
That was weird. Their biggest asset this year has been Marc Marquez. Glad they signed him instead of Jorge Martin, I think.
Hindsight says that. But at the time, it was a questionable debate.
It was a questionable decision, but clearly Gigi saw something. They've got quite a good mix in their stable. So they have 6 riders.
Yep.
They've got a good consistency in Marquez, and I would say Bagnaia has been quite consistently rubbish this year. They've got good speed. Marquez, Digia. And they've got good aggression. Digia, Morbidelli, Alex.
Yeah.
Factory team leading the standings, then Grazzini, then VR46. That kind of makes sense. Grazzini have been on the GP24 this year.
Yeah.
And I think those two will switch around in the second half of the season when the GP25 starts to consistently outperform the GP24.
And when both riders for VR are back.
Yeah. Ducati as a manufacturer sit with 393 points ahead of Aprilia's 161. So nearly double. Over double.
I mean, that would be expected.
The factory team have 594 points and Grazzini has 358. VR46 has 281. So quite the spread.
Yeah.
And I think those two will change around. Their biggest problem is Pecco Bagnaia. I think that's fairly non-controversial to say.
I was telling you before the Czech Republic race, saying I would not be shocked if at some point in the next half of the season that he doesn't get out of Q1.
That's already happened.
He has been in Q1.
Yeah, but he's already not made it out of Q1, I think.
He went into Q2, didn't he?
No, but I think he's already not made it out of Q1.
Oh.
I think that's already happened. Early in the season. Was it not France?
Might have been.
Oh no, he was quite high in France because that was why he was knocked over.
Yes.
I'm sure it's already happened where he was nowhere near the front. Somebody will fact check me. Anyway, let's talk about the Nova Ducati because we should. Pecco has had a year that he will want to forget.
There's no doubt there.
But the score says otherwise. And that was why it was really hard to rate him. So he will probably overtake Alex in the standings based on consistency alone, which is something that he lost the championship for last year. And I don't know whether he's taken that as a personal challenge to be more consistent this year or not. But
he's definitely more consistent this year.
He's definitely consistently fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's putting all the blame on the bike, but the bike's winning every race. So that's difficult to argue.
And you could even argue that even versions of that bike are doing better than he is. VR46, yeah.
Yeah. Tim gave him a 7. I gave him a 7.5. And I will explain that by saying that I've given somebody else a 7. And I think he's doing a slightly better job than this person over the average. So I gave him a 7.5. But I won't spoil who that person is.
Yeah, I gave him a 5.
You gave him a 5.
He's a double world champion.
He is a double world champion.
On the fastest bike on the grid. He should be doing better.
But he's also third in the standings. So while it seems like he's having a really bad time, he's still scoring points.
Yeah, it's kind of... Back in the days of Michael Schumacher in Formula 1,
yeah,
he's kind of the Barrichello.
Yeah, and I would have given Barrichello a 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Finishing second every year isn't going to win you a title.
No. Look, I'm not saying I gave Bagnaia a 9 and Marquez a 10. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that I think Bagnaia has done a slightly worse job than Alex Marquez.
Yes.
So far. But a better job than Luca Marini.
Not much of a challenge is Luca Marini.
We'll get there. But what I'm saying is I think he's done a better job than Pedro Acosta. Right? I am now spoiling my grades.
Yeah.
And therefore, I've given him a 7.5.
Yeah.
But you've rated him the same as Iagura.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair.
I think there's levels. And he should be hitting higher levels in terms of regularly finishing and regularly qualifying in the top 3 or 4.
Okay, then. Marc Marquez, 10.
11.
Tim gave him a 10. I gave him a 10. Are you seriously going for 11 out of 10?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that my average is now above 10.
I mean, you can put it down to 10, but
I'm putting it down as a 10. He's not having 11.
He's bid phenomenal.
He's dropped it twice. at one of his most successful circuits.
He has dropped it twice. He has dropped it twice. But the funny fact is that it feels like a marked domination this season, doesn't it?
It is a marked domination this season.
2019 was better.
Yeah. What's your point? Why have you given him an 11? You're contradicting yourself now. You can't say to me, it feels like marked domination, but 2019 was better, but I'm still giving him an 11. That's not fair.
It feels 11 was kind of a ploy to get you a bit.
Fine, say 11, but I'm not writing 11 down. You're having it out of 10. We can just about do half points, but we're not having more than 100%. If anything, it's a 9.5 because he should have won in America and he should have at least kept it up in Jerez.
He should have done.
And he shouldn't have crashed in Silverstone and then on the first lap and then been lucky enough to still be in the race.
Yes,
he should have had 3 DNFs this year, the way he's been going, and he hasn't. He's very lucky not to have done.
Yeah, I think it shows that he's not just coasting.
And he's not won every sprint race.
No, he hasn't.
But he should have done.
He should have done.
Okay. Let's move on to VR46, who for some reason are next up on the list instead of Grazzini. That's not me. That's on the MotoGP website. I assume it's because of the GP25. Digia. Difficult. He's so aggressive and he's so fast that he DNFs a lot. Through no fault of his own, right? Germany dropped it from second. Qatar, he was nowhere. Ran over Martin. Collision with his teammate at the Dutch TT. It's difficult to rate him.
He's either fantastic with pace or he's just nowhere.
It's really making me doubt Bagnaya's abilities.
Yes.
Because he's as inconsistent as Bagnaia is, and they're both on the same bike. Take Mark out of the equation. They're both on the same bike. So is it that the GP25 is inconsistent, and that's why Digia and Bagnaia are inconsistent? Or is it that Digia is aggressive as hell, and sometimes that works for him, and sometimes it doesn't? And Bagnaia is just having a bit of a mess season. Difficult.
Yeah. Could just be riding styles or anything. You don't really know.
Tim gave him a 7.5. I've given him a 6.
I have given him a 6 as well.
You've given him a 6. Bagnaia's average was 6.5.
Fair.
Mark's average was 10.
Of course.
Digia's average is 6.5. Morbidelli, another difficult one. He's missed a couple of races now. He had a double long lap in Mugello. Also really aggressive. He's on the GP24. He should be doing a lot better than he is.
But he has done some. There's been some good moments.
He has had some good moments, but he's not. He's nowhere in the standings. I've given him a 5. Tim gave him a 6.
I rounded up from what I was thinking. I had him as a 6. I was thinking 5. I was like, I'll be a bit kind.
You had him as a 6. What did you round it up to? 10? What is this? This is real maths. This isn't fake Jake maths. Come on. How do you round up a 6?
So I was thinking you slept right bang in the middle between 5 and 6.
Okay.
And I didn't know we were doing half points.
Right.
So I rounded it up.
Do you want to give him a half point?
But a 5.5 feels right.
If you give him a half point, he'll be exactly a 5.5.
A 5.5 feels right, to be fair.
Okay. So that takes his average to 5.5. Right. Let's move on to Grazzini because we are going to run out of time otherwise. Aldeguer. Very reasonable rookie season, if you ask me.
Very.
Very. He's flattered a lot of the time because he's on the GP24.
Yep.
The way he's been riding, he probably should be lower in the standings.
He's had moments where he's just flung off the bike It's
very fortunate that he's on the GP24 and that it flatters mistakes. I gave him a 6. So did Tim.
Yep, 6.
Which was actually more than I gave Morbidelli, but whatever. Alex Marquez. Now, recency bias would bring this grade down.
A lot.
I tried not to be influenced by recency bias.
Same.
He is currently second in his first real title challenge, if that's what you want to call it. I don't think he stands a chance in hell, but...
Unless Mark flings it off the road and breaks his leg.
The media are calling it a title challenge, and he's currently the closest person to Mark in the standings. He took his first victory in Jerez.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Could argue it was because Mark wasn't on the bike, but he stayed on the bike. Mark didn't. Unlucky at Silverstone.
Very.
Unlucky at Assen.
Very.
Not so unlucky at the Czech Grand Prix. That was entirely his mistake.
No.
Very lucky at the German Grand Prix. I think Bagnaia and Bez are going to get him, and I gave him an 8.
I gave him an 8 as well.
And Tim gave him an 8.5, which brings his average to 8.2. Okay, Honda. As you said, Honda, you literally took words out of my mouth. Honda are one of these sort of legendary manufacturers of the sport, and you don't have to go back that far till they were winning everything with Mark, as you said, 2019. They are only ahead of Yamaha in the standings.
Yeah.
And it's pretty close. 147 points. I think Yamaha are 130 something. We'll get there. Their only saving grace has been consistency, and their only consistency has come from Luca Marini.
Yeah.
Who scored points at every race he's taken part in this year.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we'll get there, but he got injured training for the 8 hours of Suzuka. But again, I don't know why these riders do this mid-season, but whatever. And Zarco. So let's start with Zarco. I've given him a 6. Tim has given him a 6. And the reason I've given him a 6 is because he's one of the most experienced riders on the grid, and he should have done better. But he did win at the French Grand Prix, and he did also look impressive at the British Grand Prix. Since then, it's been poor strategy and DNFs.
Yeah, he's definitely felt at times like the best Honda on the track, but then you start looking at the consistency and the results over the season, and you're like, no.
He's definitely the best LCR Honda on the track.
He's pretty much the only LCR Honda on the track at times.
Correct. What did you give him?
I gave him a 7 because he did win a race in a Honda.
He won a race on a Honda, yet you gave Bez a 7.5 for winning a race on an Aprilia.
Aprilia's the second fastest bike.
Yeah, not at Silverstone it wasn't. Honestly, there's no consistent. I apologize. I apologize to you. If you ever watch this bit of the audio, I'm pointing at the camera. If you're just listening to the audio, I apologize to you. I'm speaking directly to you right now. I apologize for this inconsistency from my co-hosts. I can only try to be the shining light that you all deserve. Chantra.
I don't know where to start.
It's his rookie season, and he's on a Honda. Difficult. It's a miracle he scored any points at all.
I mean, he scored like 1, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, not quite 1, but yes. He's done a good job at times. He's not fallen off as much as I thought he would.
No.
But Zarco is proving that you can win races on that bike.
He's
under the right conditions. Now, he did okay, but then he injured himself.
Yeah.
And he's missed 2 Grand Prix. I gave him a 2.5, mainly because I gave somebody else a 2, which was my lowest grade. But I'm now wondering whether I change that to a 2 and I drop the other one down lower, because you've given a 1. Tim hasn't given a 1. But I might give a 1. So I'm going to change that to 2. Tim gave a 2 for Chantra. What did you give?
I also gave a 2.
Interesting.
But in context, it's mainly due to the fact that he is on a Honda.
Yes.
He's not been awful.
But he's not had a chance to shine.
He's not been given the machinery to be able to do what he's been able to do in previous categories.
So shockingly, his average is a 2.
Oh no. What a shock.
Luca Marini, Mr. Consistent. He has scored points at every race up to Aragon, where he was injured from a huge crash on the second day of testing for the Suzuka 8 hours. He dislocated his left hip. He suffered ligament injuries in his left knee. He fractured his sternum and left collarbone, and he got right-sided pneumothorax, which is what Martin had.
Yeah.
Somehow, he returned at the German Grand Prix and scored points. He did the same thing at the Czech Grand Prix too, which means every time he's been on that bike, he scored points.
It's impressive.
I've given him a 7.
My not realizing that he was that consistent, I will have to readjust my score because originally I gave him a 3.
Interesting.
But because he's that consistent,
Yeah.
taking the fact that he made that choice to do that race and get injured.
True, but I've taken out the fact that Honda are rubbish. So I've rated him based on how Honda are, right? That's how I've tried to do it. So I've looked at the other Honda riders and decided what to rate him on. So I've actually rated him higher than Zarco because he's been consistent.
Yeah, I could argue to be pumped up to a 5.5.
Wow, Jesus Christ. Tim gave him a 6, so that brings his average to 6.2, which is lower than Zarco.
That race win.
Because you rate race wins higher than consistency. You animal.
It's more about flair.
It's not about flair. It's about consistency. Honda are nowhere. What they need is somebody to be consistent. Zarco is not being consistent.
No.
Speaking of not being consistent, Joan Mir,
Oh, God.
51% DNF rate at Honda during his time at Honda. And no, not all of them were his fault. Sometimes he's been hit by Agura and sometimes he's been hit by Alex Marquez. But let's be real, he's putting himself in dangerous positions.
As a world champion, that is shocking display.
It's not good enough.
I've made little notes on some of the sort of standard riders I want to talk about. And I've put, for Mir, 2020 world champion. But as lucky as Hulkenberg.
Yes. He's finished 4 races this year.
Yeah. More sprints than actual races, which...
He's in the section of the points that is entirely reserved for reserve drivers.
And rookies, yeah.
And wild cards. It's not good enough, and I've given him a 3.
I gave him a 4.
You're very inconsistent. You're very generous there.
But I am tempted to drop down to a 3.
Do you want to drop down to a 3?
I feel like I pumped up Marini, so yeah, drop me down to a 3.
And Tim gave him a 2, which takes his average to 2.7. While we're here, let's talk about Aleix and Taka Nakagami. So these two have made interesting returns, having both decided to retire last year.
Yes.
So Aleix left Aprilia. Poor timing.
Really poor timing.
Really poor timing. He appeared at the Spanish Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, and the Dutch Grand Prix this year, racing for HRC, which is the main team. He served as a wildcard rider and a replacement rider for Luca Marini. His results have been terrible. Like, really terrible.
They've not been amazing.
No, terrible. And he's been very outspoken. So he's criticised Honda for their qualifying pace, saying that their downfall is switching new tyres on, and that their approach to testing is terrible. Difficult to rate. I gave him a 3.
I gave him a 4 just because he's that outspoken to Honda.
Okay, fair enough. Tim also gave him a 4.
Because I feel like
to rate, but yeah,
if you're a replacement rider, you're not really trying to impress them or get a seat.
No. It also should be noted he's come from Aprilia to Honda. So
yeah.
Nakagami, on the other hand, retired from Honda and has stayed at Honda as a reserve rider. He's made 2 appearances as a wildcard rider at the French Grand Prix and a replacement for Chantra at the Czech Grand Prix. His performance at the Czech Grand Prix was nothing to write home about, but 6th place at the French Grand Prix in the wet after not having ridden for 6 months. Hugely impressive.
Yeah.
I gave him a 5 because of that.
I gave him a 3.
What? I mean, fine, I'm not going to influence you, but why less than Aleix? I don't understand. At least Taka scored points. Anyway, fine. That brings his average to 4.5 and Aleix at 3.7.
What did Tim rate him as?
Tim rated Taka at 5.5. Yeah. And he rated Aleix at 4. So, same as you on that one.
Yeah.
All right, KTM. Let's do this. Okay, KTM. Very, very poor start to the season. Lots of financial trouble, lots of media attention, lots of questions about whether or not they'll be on the grid, passing around that salad box rear end like it was Halloween sweets.
Yeah.
Since the buyout, though, from Baja, those bikes have looked phenomenal.
They've looked very solid.
Really, really solid. Really fast in a straight line. They're starting to get that following other riders thing down. They're starting to get that cornering pace, race pace, tire life.
It seems like the buyout has made that bike stick to the road more.
Well, it's just that I think it's just that they can actually now
invest properly in the team.
They can focus now. They're not having to worry about making sure that light switch is turned off so that we save a few pennies. We can actually now.
Yeah, don't open that can of Coke because that's the only one we've got left for tomorrow.
Yeah. They're really taking the fight to the Aprilia. They're currently third with 175 points. While there still remains some doubt over their future in the sport, right now they're fighting at the front, and that's what more do you want? So that will keep the lights on. That will keep the race team invested, and they've got some good drivers, some good riders.
Yeah.
So let's start with Binder. He's had a pretty underrated season this year. He's been quietly scoring points. He's only not scored points at 3 races. At the America's Grand Prix, he had an electrical issue.
Yeah.
He was one of many to fall at the French Grand Prix, and he dropped it at Aragon while pushing too hard. But actually, on this very podcast, I rated him quite highly at the Aragon Grand Prix, despite the fall, because we know it's difficult to follow other bikes. We know that those two were pushing hard, and we also saw Mav do exactly the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw Quartararo do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I've given him a 5.
I've given him a 4.
Okay.
But purely on the basis that I'm looking at the I have made a little note to myself. He's not stood out at any point. He's not run off with a podium or been pushing for pole or pushing for a win or he's just sort of quietly got around his business.
Yeah.
He's done well. He's got more points than Bastianini, but Bastianini has been talk of discussion quite a lot.
Yeah.
He's been off injured, admittedly. But there's been moments where, especially recently, he's come into his own. And he's come from a Ducati as well, Bastianini. So there's a context of he's getting used to that bike and then he starts to perform.
Whereas Binder's just been consistent.
Binder's just been consistent. He's been on that bike forever. He's been a KTM rider for years. So he knows that bike really well. He should be doing a little bit better from his experience on that bike. But obviously that bike's not been there.
Yep.
And he's been consistent. So there's a little bit of, I feel a bit harsh giving him a 4. But if he gets a podium, that would shoot up to a 7.
Okay. So I've written here, not as impressive as Acosta or Vinales, which I think is fair. So let's talk about Acosta, who is definitely flying the flag for KTM.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really terrible first race of the season, finished 19th. But since then, his finishes have been higher than Binder's. Obviously, double podium finish at the Czech Grand Prix. When Mav and Brad are down,
he's there.
Right there.
Yeah.
For that reason, I've given him a 7, and Tim has given him a 7.5.
I did my rings before the Czech Grand Prix.
Sure.
So I'd have to happily upgrade my 5 to a 7 because he got a double podium.
Great. Bit of recency bias coming through. So that takes Brad's average to 4.8 and Acosta's to 7.2. Vinales, so the Tech 3 team. God, they have a really weird lineup, don't they?
It's difficult.
It's so hard. So Maverick is the kind of rider who is terrible 20 times out of 21 a year. But that one time, he's going to dominate the race by 20 seconds. And Bastianini is, as you said, he's come in fresh to the KTM this year.
From a dominant bike.
From the best bike probably ever built. And his strength is late race pace, looking after tyres, much like Mark.
Yeah, he gets faster throughout the race
Unfortunately, that KTM is not fast enough in qualifying for him to show that. So really, really hard to rate. Mav unlucky in Qatar with the tyre pressure issue. I thought that race was excellent. He's had a good run in Spain, France, the Netherlands. But other than that, he's been out of the top 10. Huge crash at the German Grand Prix, and he's going to sit out the next few races.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So I've given him a 5.5. So did Tim.
Yeah, I could agree.
Okay. So that means his average is 5.5. And Bastianini, again, as I just said, his His race pace is great, but his qualifying pace is nowhere. And
it's kind of backwards to Binder, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And obviously, he missed the German Grand Prix because of food poisoning. Not his fault, but it's hard to quantify that. He was doing so well at the Czech Grand Prix and then had a nasty fall at the end.
He was on for a P2.
So I've given him a 5. Tim's given him a 4.5.
I've given him a 5, but I'd be tempted to up it. But 5 is a pretty fair.
I just don't think he's been as good as Mav.
Yes,
he's been the exact same as Binder, but in different sessions. So I've given him roughly the same as Binder.
I feel like KTM need to make a decision about the rider lineup soon because that rider does not work the way it currently is.
It doesn't work. So you want to give him a 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So that takes his average to 4.8, which is the same as Brad. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's do Pol Espargaro while we're here. He's been KTM's only substitute rider this year, serving in place of Vinales at the Czech Grand Prix. It was a double points finish in the sprint and the Grand Prix. Good pace and consistency throughout. Obviously, he finished second at the KTMs because none of them were anywhere. Bastianini didn't finish. It's hard to rate him over the course of a season when he's only appeared once, but I gave him a 7 because I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, I could.
He's been retired for 2 years.
Yeah, that taking into account everything, I would agree a 6 or 7.
Been retired for 2 years. He hasn't ridden a bike since 2024 properly. He comes in on a KTM, which we know is difficult.
I think his qualifying was a bit poor, though.
His qualifying was poor, but he double points finish, which is impressive in the sprint, less so in the Grand Prix, but it was good points.
Yeah.
He currently has a lot more points than some of the other riders we're about to discuss.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on Yamaha.
No. What do you want to give him?
Give him a 6.
Okay, that's what Tim gave him.
Yeah.
Which takes his average to 6.3. Right. Buckle up, everybody. It's Yamaha time.
This is a sore spot as a pretty big Yamaha fan for the last sort of 2 years.
Make up your mind. Are you an Acosta fan or a Yamaha fan?
I'm a Yamaha fan as a team because I like the blue.
Okay.
And the Quartararo.
So you must have felt really, really, really conflicted when they ran that white livery a few races ago.
Yep.
Right. What a nightmare it's been for Yamaha. They are last.
It's been an awful season. It's been an awful few years, really.
Yamaha is a manufacturer at last with 133 points. The factory team is 6th with 144, and Pramac, who let's not forget won the Riders' Championship last year, are 11th and last with 61 points since making the switch to Yamaha. Now, is it a good thing that they've got a second team? Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Are they perhaps one of two teams who are capable of taking the fight to Ducati right now? Yes. Let me explain. Honda refuse to just try things. Flat out refuse. That's how they got in this mess with Mark in the first place.
Oh, yeah.
They will not try anything they cannot prove will improve their performance.
They need downright evidence
they
and
need
data.
KTM are broke, so they're not going to try loads of stuff.
They have lots of bikes in the shed, though.
They do. They have lots of push bikes. Not going to help them very much. Aprilia and Yamaha have money, and they have
a lot of backing.
They have development time. They have a fairly good lineup of riders in the factory team. Yamaha arguably have better riders than Aprilia. Currently, I think there are 4 different versions of the Yamaha M1 circling around the Yamaha factory.
There's got to be more.
I've heard 3 different engines, 2 different chassis, 4 different aero parts for the back, 3 for the front, plus 2 different suspension geometries. That's what I've heard.
That's investment.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage. But
that's a lot of damage.
But still, they're last with Pramac, who are running the same bike as Quartararo every week. Speaking of Quartararo, difficult, right? Because
he's been really unlucky.
The first 4 rounds he finished in the points, but low.
Yeah.
In Spain, he took pole, finished the race in second. At the Austrian Grand Prix, in Spain, he took pole and finished the race second. This was Yamaha's best result since the Austrian Grand Prix 5 years ago.
Yep.
He went on a 3-race streak of pole, but also then a 3-race streak of
basically not doing anything.
Of not finishing, which is his worst streak ever. So in France, he crashed. In Silverstone, he had a ride height issue. And then again at Aragon, he crashed. And there was no excuse there. It was dry. Really, really difficult because he just qualifies high and drops low. So I've given him a 5.5 because I think his pace is good, but he's just not putting it together in the race.
For me, I have originally giving him an 8. I know.
What? An 8?
But it was mainly down to the I think it's like a 3 run of poles.
Yes.
Which is impressive with Mark there.
Yes, he got pole in Spain, France, and Silverstone.
Yeah, and he was going to win, I think it was Silverstone, wasn't it? But that was
right. Then he had a ride height issue.
It looked like he was going to win that, which is unfortunate.
He also looked like he was going to win France too, till he dropped it and then punched the marshal.
Yeah, that was a bit embarrassing.
A bit.
And thinking, obviously this was done before, my rankings were done before the most recent race. A little bit of recency bias needs to creep in because he's done the same thing again and again and again. Qualifying high, no pace, dropping off, finishing 7th.
Yep. And if you're going to be shirtless on the grid, flirting with your grid girl, and then do that,
nah, mate,
you got to drop points for that.
Yeah, and I'd push it at a 6.
6. Okay. Well, that leaves his average at 6.
Yeah.
Rinse.
Oof! Don't get me started.
Consistent, but rubbish. 17th at the Thai Grand Prix. He's finished between 11th place and 15th place consistently until the Czech Grand Prix, where he returned back to 18th. With just 42 points this year, Rince is 18th in the standings and he's just ahead of Mir. He's basically last of the people who either haven't basically scored any points or have only done one race.
I think I've been way too kind to him.
I've given him a 3.
I've given him a 2.
Oh, you've been harsher than both of us. Tim gave him a 3 as well, which means 2.7 on the average.
Obviously, there was news recently that Yamaha's picked up that World Superbike rider, isn't he?
Yes, Toprak.
Yeah, I'm not going to say his name.
I can't pronounce his last name. I just call him Toprak.
Toprak is a good call.
Toprak's going to replace Rince, right?
So this is the point. I don't think Yamaha, if they don't replace all of their riders other than Fabio, they've missed something.
Well, it's interesting you say that because next up on my list is Jack Miller. Now, I gave Jack a pretty harsh time of this until I read an article that said Yamaha are very happy with what Jack has done. I was really listening to a documentary about him and about some of the Yamaha stuff that was going on. Because they've not had an easy time of it recently. No.
He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't see.
Correct. And this is what I didn't spot. So Jack set Yamaha's fastest ever lap time at the Thai Grand Prix, having just made the switch from KTM to Yamaha. He's also ridden Hondas and Ducatis.
He's been everywhere.
He's been just about everywhere. He's only missing Aprilia. Anyway. Quartararo was singing his praises after the Thai Grand Prix, and he's had nothing but Yamaha forced issues since then, like loose bolts on his fairings, electrical issues. Yes, there's been a couple of times where he's not performed very well, but I can't justify giving him less than Quartararo. Because he's brand new on that bike. That bike is terrible. And no, he's not getting pole and then dropping down the order all the time, but he's as quick as Quartararo when he needs to be, and he's far more consistent. So I've given him a 6.
I because the other two Yamaha riders I've read pretty harshly, revealing my ranking. But Miller I originally gave him a 4 before watching this documentary and understanding what he actually does behind the scenes. Because unlike Formula One, behind the scenes of MotoGP is secrets all everywhere. You don't see or understand what goes on behind the scenes because you don't have a streamer sat there that used to be a mechanic talking about everything that Red Bull's ever done.
Yeah.
So you don't know what he does. Having this documentary that I watched, I'd be tempted to rank him at 6.
Okay, let's go with a 6. Because Jack.
Because if that bike wins a race.
It says Jack here, it doesn't say Tim here. So I said Jack. Tim gave him a 5. So that brings his average to 5.7.
Yeah. If they win a race this year, I'd be tempted to give that race credit to Jack as well as whoever wins it. Just because of how much he actually does behind the scenes. Like, I think he tested the new V4 engine.
Yes. Before Quartararo.
Before anyone else even touched it, other than the test drivers.
Yeah.
Which clearly shows that he's got some form of sway at Yamaha to a certain degree.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yamaha clearly put a lot of faith in him, and honestly, I think they should promote him to the factory team instead of Rins.
In my mind, I think either they have a choice to make, because obviously we don't really know what KTM are going to do next year.
No, I don't think KTM know what KTM are going to do next year.
I mean, they might sell bikes, but other than that...
keychains.
I'd be tempted to, as a Yamaha, to be, Costa, do you want a Yamaha next year?
Yeah, maybe.
And then shove him in the factory and keep Jack on that satellite.
Yeah, maybe.
And then use Toprak just give Toprak a year to settle down.
Yeah.
Have a year, get used to MotoGP, get used to the bike. And that'd be a really dangerous lineup.
Yeah.
Fabio Acosta with Miller and Toprak.
Yeah. Let's do Oliveira. Yeah, I know.
Do we have to?
We have to. Because as I've written in the article, the worst to last, basically. Miguel Oliveira has been by far the worst rider of the year, and I'm including replacement riders. I'm even including Salvadori in that. No, it's not all of his fault. He did have an injury that kept him out for 3 rounds of the season. But he only has a handful of points.
And he is on Yamaha.
He's got a lot of poor results. He's got a string of retirements, and he's only got 6 points, which is as much as some of the stand-in riders who've done one race.
I mean, Paul Espargaro, I think, has got more.
Paul Espargaro's got more points, yeah. He's also, I feel like we've not heard anything about him. And when you're not performing terribly, when you're not performing well, and you're not getting media attention, it just means you're just a bit rubbish. He's just a bit rubbish. He's not rubbish enough that he's crashing every week.
He's not a Lance Stroll.
Where all we talk about is Miguel Oliveira, but he's also not good enough that we're talking, like we've just both spoken about Jack Miller for a while. So I don't want to speak about Oliveira.
I have no idea.
There's nothing to speak about Oliveira.
I tried to make notes on every single Yamaha rider. The only one I could not make notes on, Oliveira.
Yeah, so I've given him a 1. That's my lowest score.
I gave him a 2, but I'm happy to give him a 0.
Yeah, okay. So Tim gave him a 2, so that brings his average to 1. And we have just one rider left, which is Augusto Fernandez. He was dropped by KTM last year. He found himself in a test rider role at Yamaha. So far, he's replaced Oliveira during his injuries.
Yep.
He's served as a wildcard event for 2 events with the factory team, one of which was the Czech Grand Prix. The other was the America's Grand Prix, where he scored a handful of points. Just mildly disappointing. He currently sits 24th in the standings with the same amount of points as Oliveira, having only done a handful of races. It's a decent substitute performance is what I've written. Arguably it's better than Oliveira. I give him a 3.
Honestly, Yamaha, if you're listening, sack Oliveira and bring this guy in. You'd get a better result at the end of the day.
You could run it for half the races and you've still got the same number of points.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I gave him a 3. Tim gave him a 2.5.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to give him a 3.5.
Sure, let's do it.
Compared to Oliveira, he's replacing Oliveira and he's outperformed him in reality.
So that takes his average to a 3. So I will put all of this stuff on the website, and then we will wait for the comment section. We'll be surely very angry. But that's it, basically. So yeah, that's the end of the podcast. That's the end of all the MotoGP talk. This is kind of the bit where we get really unprofessional and we just waffle for ages about random bits. But Tim's not here, so there's less to waffle about. We will be doing another one of these in 2 weeks' time for Formula One, because we will have had it's Belgium and Hungary back to back, right?
It's a really weird.
We've been on a weird break. We really wanted to do the F1 one now and the MotoGP one after Germany, because that would have been exactly at the halfway point.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that for either of them because we're doing the MotoGP one now. We've only got 10 races left, and we're doing Formula One after 2 races, so we'll have a 2-way imbalance.
Yeah,
in the force. Always 2 there are, but the F1 one will be a bit more spicy, I think. Lots to talk about.
There's more opinions related to F1.
Way more opinions. So we shall see. But yes, we will be hopefully getting a guest on for the British for the F1 one as well. Not sure if it will be Jake. Depends if he's free.
I'm happy to come back if needed.
But Tim will be back for that one. So we'll all 3 of us be in this room. Maybe we get 2 guests. There are 4 microphones in here. We could get 2 guests. We'd have to be really careful not to talk over each other, but we could get 2 guests.
Yeah.
Let's see. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming, Jake.
You're welcome.
Thanks for helping me out when my wingman decides that work is more important than this.
Come on, Tim. What are you doing?
Yeah, come on, Tim. What are you doing? He's just messaged me as well, as if he doesn't know I'm currently in the podcast studio recording.
Shocking display.
And it's not even like he's messaged me about the podcast. He's messaged me about work.
That's an Oliveira display, that.
It's just shocking. You need to come up with an outro thing. Tim does this thing all the time where he goes like, peace. Because I usually go, right, we'll see you next time. And then Tim makes a noise. So this is your opportunity to the world to promote yourself or make fun of yourself or just say bye. Doesn't matter. From me, I will see you in 2 weeks' time, everybody. Thanks for listening.
See ya.